every time we change our schedule, our rhythm, that takes extra energy and focus for us to make the adjustment. And don't tell me that you have never changed the toilet paper roll in your house or somebody else's house. I know that somebody's come to my house and they just could not stand the toilet paper going in the wrong way. So most of us prefer under or over. Those are certainly signs of people that have a dreadful time with change, that they would have to change the toilet paper roll. I like to use the rubber band as an analogy for stress. So Hans Selye, the founder of the word stress, eustress, distress, he liked to think about the whole idea of stress as having a positive and a negative. So if you had a rubber band that, if you've got one in your desk right now, you can pull one out. When you think about a rubber band, you don't buy them to just stay limp and useless in your drawer. They're intended to have some stretch to them, some challenge. When we get up in the morning, we are glad that we had some time to be at rest, to be quiet, to have some peace. But if we stay there day after day, that's called depression. So healthy stress is just enough challenge, that new job or that new home or that new project of yours, just enough stress, which he called eustress, the healthy stress, so that you feel like you're on purpose, that you feel like you've got a challenge in your life. However, as the analogy goes, if you stretch too far, you put yourself at risk of snapping, cracking, or breaking. And unlike a rubber band that we throw in the garbage can, we human beings, if we snap, crack, or break, we can put our hand up and say, please help. And by the way, connection is a very, very good antidote to stress and all its connected maladies. So here's Hans Selye's book. He operated out of Montreal, Canada, which is pretty exciting. And he was a founding researcher of the whole concept of stress. And there's several books by him. He's long gone, but he did a good deed while he was here. So here is the idea of eustress. That's how you spell it. And eustress in his terms was just enough stress to give a sense of feeling that challenge. And stress it's what it is. And when it becomes too much, he coined the term distress to indicate, oh, this is just too much going on for me. Chronic stress is distress that escalates to either anxiety or depression. And anxiety is distress, including fear, worry, and sometimes panic attacks, that whole anxiety piece. And if we take a look at the nervous system that gets triggered often by our thoughts or a situation, it goes either into anxiety or depression. And depression is distress, including overwhelming sadness, hopelessness, and low energy. And trauma is distress that did not get resolved. Trauma is different than distress. If we, on a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis, particularly in the moment basis, if we manage our distress well, we will not have trauma. Regrettably, many of us are living with trauma from our childhood, where we had no power and control, where we had no decision-making. But the good news is that trauma can be addressed. We have come a long way in the world of therapy in addressing traumatic events that happened to us in the past. And here's a definition of trauma for you. Extreme distress from a life or well-being threat stored in the nervous system, the muscular memory, and the back of the old brain. Stored, not resolved. And a term that you may have heard is burnout. Burnout classically refers to the workplace, burning out at the workplace. And I have burned out twice as a caregiver. So I just want you to know, if you're caregiving, you may experience that term burnout. And what does it mean? It means that you start to have negativity, cynicism, lack of energy and enthusiasm for the work you're doing, whether that's work in the home, caregiving, even in the community or in the workplace. It is distress that's gone to a type of distressed place. So I have a little quiz here for you, and away we go. Manisha will report. What percentage of Canadians are struggling with mental health? And typically that mental health starts with some kind of distressful event. What percentage? And this is a recent poll from the Angus Reid Institute. Put in the chat box your guess. And what's the vote sitting at, Manisha?
2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3.
2, 3, 2, 3. Yep, very good. 36% of Canadians reported in January of 2022 that they felt fatigued, frustrated, and anxious. And much of that has to do with, back to what I was talking about before, about change requires us giving out energy to adjust